right, so ready for another deep dive? We're tackling Google's latest AI moves today. Bunch of articles here, everything from those AI search summaries everyone's talking about to some seriously cool, kind of creepy stuff. Think using your camera to search, even AI helping you find your lost keys.
It's pretty mind-blowing how Google's weaving AI into, well, everything these days, isn't it?
No kidding.
Yeah.
And they're not shying away from the big claims either. Yeah. But let's start with those AI overviews. The ones that are supposed to save us from actually reading search results.
Right, right.
Have you seen some of the early examples? Hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Definitely some interesting ones out there. Like that one suggesting you use glue so your cheese doesn't slide off the pizza.
Okay, that's just bad advice on every level. Who thinks of that?
Well, that's the thing about AI, right? It's only as good as the data it's trained on. And sometimes it leads to these, what do they call them? Hallucinations, where the AI spits out something completely bonkers.
Hallucinations, yeah. I mean, imagine if you're following a recipe from Google and it tells you to swap olive oil for, I don't know, motor oil. Like you'd think with all the data Google has, they'd be able to teach their AI to spot a joke website, right?
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But satire and humor, it's tricky, even for humans sometimes. It often depends on subtle cues, context, stuff that even advanced AI can miss.
So are we basically trusting our dinner to an AI that can't tell the onion from, like, the New York Times cooking section?
Well, Google says those early examples were isolated and they're refining their algorithms. But it does make you think, right? What happens when we rely too much on these AI-generated summaries?
It's like we're outsourcing our critical thinking to algorithms, but hey, at least we get a good laugh out of AI telling us to glue cheese to our pizza for now, right? But speaking of AI interacting with, the real world, this whole searching with your camera thing, have you tried that yet?
Yeah, I've been playing around with it. And honestly, it's pretty impressive. Imagine you're out on a walk, right? And you see this, I don't know, some unusual bird. Instead of trying to describe it in a search bar, you just point your phone at it. Boom. Google uses image recognition, identifies the bird, gives you all the info you need.
That's wild. It's like having a, what do you call it, a personal field guide for, well, everything.
Right. Direct access to all that knowledge just by pointing your camera at something. The possibilities are pretty much endless when you think about it.
Okay, but now for the inevitable question, the what about my privacy question. We're basically giving Google a live feed of our lives with this, aren't we?
It's definitely a valid concern. I mean, where's all that visual data going, right? Google says they've got strict privacy protocols, that the data's only used to improve their algorithms.
But how can we be sure?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? This is where transparency from these tech companies is key. We, the users, we need to demand clear explanations of how our data is being used. What are they doing with it?
Because that whole pointing your camera at everything for instant answers thing, it might come with a price. And who knows what that price is?
Exactly. The benefits of AI are huge, but we've got to acknowledge the risks too. It's a tough balance.
It is. And it's a balance we're all part of figuring out whether we realize it or not. So we've got AI potentially steering us wrong with weird search results, potentially watching our every move through our phones. What else is new in Google's AI world? They've got this new thing, right? Gemini. Like their answer to ChatGPT.
Yeah, Gemini's generating a lot of buzz. And it's not just one thing, it's more like a whole family of AI models. What's really interesting is their focus on multimodal AI.
Multimodal AI. Okay, break that down for me. Sounds fancy.
Basically, it means AI that can understand information from different sources, not just text. We're talking images, videos, audio. It's like giving AI a more complete way of experiencing the world, just like we do.
So it's not just reading the words on a website. It's like understanding the design, the images, even the vibe it's going for.
Exactly. And with that deeper understanding, the applications are kind of mind-blowing.
Like what? Give me a real-world example.
Okay, so imagine this. You go to the doctor, right? But instead of just describing your symptoms, you can actually show the doctor a rash on your arm using your phone's camera. The AI processes both your words and the image, potentially leading to a faster, more accurate diagnosis.
Wow. Okay, that's a game changer.
Right. And that's just one example. Think about education. AI could tailor lessons to how each student learns best using visuals, audio, interactive stuff, or customer service. AI chatbots that not only understand what you're typing, but can actually hear the frustration in your voice and respond accordingly.
So it's about making AI interactions feel less robotic, more human.
Exactly. Bridging that gap between how we experience the world and how AI processes information.
All right, so multimodal AI potentially revolutionizing everything from healthcare to how we talk to customer service bots. But no, hold on. What about those lost glasses we mentioned earlier? Tell me more about that.
So let me get this straight. With this whole Gemini thing, Google could actually help me find my lost TV remote. Asking for a friend, obviously.
Well, maybe not the TV remote just yet, but they did show how Gemini could locate things like, misplaced glasses. Imagine you ask your phone, where are my glasses? And since Gemini's been analyzing images from your camera, it can actually point you to where it last saw them.
Okay, that's the future I want to live in. No more frantic searches for me. But it seems like Google's really going all in on this multimodal thing with Gemini. What's the driving force behind that? It just makes sense, doesn't it? The real world, like we were talking about, it's not just text or single data points. It's this whole sensory experience. So for AI to really be helpful, to get us solve problems, it needs to be able to process all that, just like we do.
It's not just about teaching AI to think like us, it's about teaching it to sense the world like us.
Exactly. And that opens up some crazy possibilities. Imagine an AI system that can, I don't know, not just transcribe a meeting, but analyze the speaker's tone, tell you how confident they sound, or highlight the important stuff, or think about accessibility. AI could help people with visual impairments navigate, using real-time camera feeds and audio cues.
Those are some seriously cool examples. But I got to say, part of me still goes back to those AI overviews, the ones giving totally wacky advice. It's kind of reassuring that even with all this advanced tech, AI still doesn't quite get human common sense.
Right. As impressive as all this is, we can't forget AI is still in its early stages. We can't just hand over our trust completely, especially when it comes to critical thinking or making big decisions.
It's a good reminder that, yeah, AI is exciting and all, but a little healthy skepticism never hurts. Can't just blindly trust everything these systems tell us, right?
Absolutely. We need to be informed, discerning users.
Well, it seems like Google's aware of some of these potential issues, right? I mean, they did hit pause on Gemini earlier this year, right? Concerns about its responses and all that. And they've said they're working on those AI overviews, trying to get rid of those, what were they, hallucinations.
Yeah, and that's encouraging, right? That they're acknowledging these challenges, taking steps to address them. Building trust in AI really depends on transparency, accountability from these companies.
Transparency is key. Look, I'm all for seeing what AI can do, but we got to do it with our eyes open. And we, the users, we have to demand that.
We're not just along for the ride. We have a say in how this whole AI thing unfolds.
We do. And it's not just Google, right? It seems like every tech company is trying to get in on the AI action these days. OpenAI's ChatGPT is everywhere, and now they're even letting it use the internet with SearchGPT. I got to have Google a little worried, right?
The competition is definitely heating up. ChatGPT's gotten a ton of attention, and giving it access to the internet with SearchGPT is a big deal.
So it's not just about who can build the smartest AI anymore. There's a lot more at stake now.
Oh, absolutely. This is about potentially disrupting industries. It's about shaping how we work, learn, interact with the world, even understand ourselves. The companies that control this tech, they're going to have a huge amount of influence.
It's not just a tech race anymore. It's about who gets to define the future of, well, everything.
In a lot of ways, yeah. And that's why all these conversations we're having about AI ethics, potential biases, responsible development, they're more important than ever. We got to make sure AI is used to empower us, not control us.
It's a lot to think about. But hey, that's what these deep dives are all about, right? Exploring these complex issues and giving you, the listener, some food for thought.
It's about understanding this tech so we can make informed decisions about how we use it, how it shapes our world.
And on that note, we're going to dive even deeper into the ethics of it all after a quick break. Stick around. So we started talking about AI, giving us kind of funny, kind of scary cooking advice. And now we're talking about the future of humanity. That's AI for you, right? Things escalate quickly.
It really shows you just how powerful this technology is. We're not just talking about making life a bit easier. We're talking about changing how we understand, how we experience the world, everything.
Yeah, and that's, I don't know, exciting, but also kind of scary.
Right, absolutely. It's like we're stepping into, I don't know, uncharted territory.
Yeah.
And who knows what we'll find. That's why it's so important to be thinking about these things now, right? About responsible AI, ethics, all of that. Got to address the downsides before they become a reality.
Because it's not like you can just put this genie back in the bottle once it's out there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool to get excited about the latest AI gadget, the new features, all that. But we got to ask ourselves, what's the trade-off? Are we giving up too much? Our privacy, our freedom, just for a little more convenience?
Those are some big questions. And honestly, I don't know if anyone has all the answers right now. But I think just asking those questions, that's a good start. And hey, maybe that's something our listeners can take away from this. Next time you're using Google, using AI, whatever it is, just take a second to think about it.
Right. Think about the tech behind it. How's it affecting me? How's it shaping the world around me? And if you don't like the answers you're coming up with, don't be afraid to say something. Demand better.
Yeah, we're not just passive bystanders here. We've got a voice in this whole AI revolution thing.
We do. And the more we know, the better choices we can make. Do we want AI to help us reach our full potential, or do we want it to control us?
It's a big decision.
Yeah.
Maybe the biggest decision.
And it's one we all have a stake in.
So let's make sure we make the right one right. Well, that's about all the time we have for today's deep dive into Google's AI world. But hey, this is a conversation that's just getting started, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
If you want to keep exploring these topics, and we hope you do, check out the show notes. We've got links to all the articles we talked about.
And be sure to subscribe to the deep dive so you don't miss our next episode. We're diving into something new, something fascinating every time.
Until then, keep asking those tough questions, keep exploring, and we'll see you next time.